स्वादयन्निह सर्वेषाम् त्रय्यन्तार्थम् सुदुर्ग्रहम् स्तोत्रयामास योगीन्द्रः तम् वन्दे यामुनाह्वयम् नमो नमो यामुनाय यामुनाय नमो नमः नमो नमो यामुनाय यामुनाय नमो नमः यत्पदाम्भोरुहध्यान विध्वस्ताशेषकल्मषः वस्तुतामुपयातोऽहम् यामुनेयम् नमामि तम् स्वधर्मज्ञानवैराग्य साध्यभक्त्येकगोचरः नारायणः परम् ब्रह्म गीताशास्त्रे समीरितः श्रीमान् वेङ्कटनाथार्यः कवितार्किककेसरी वेदान्ताचार्यवर्यो मे सन्निधत्ताम् सदा हृदि
अशास्त्रम् आसुरम् कृत्स्नम् शास्त्रीयम् गुणतः पृथक् लक्षणम् शास्त्रसिद्धस्य त्रिधा सप्तदशोदितम्. Let us have the translation in English to be read by Malini Madam.
All that is not ordained by the Shastras is demoniacal. What is enjoined in the Shastra is varied. According to the gunas and the characterization of what is established in the Shastras is threefold, as being connected with the three words, Om Tat Sat. All this is dealt with in the 17th chapter.
Dhanyavadaha. Thank you. So coming to the English part of it, the 21, so that we can compare the meaning. And Ashastram, the English expression, all that is not ordained by the Shastras, Ashastra. That will be Asura, demoniacal. Then Kritsnam, all. Kritsnam is all. Shastriyam, what is enjoined in the Shastra? We always refer to scriptures as Shastra. Then Gunataha, according to the Gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, Prithak, separately, varied is given. Okay, separately, individually, according to the Gunas, the Shastras give us the rules to be followed. So Lakshanam is what we call characterization here, otherwise called definition. So what is established in the Shastra is Shastra Siddhasya. What is the conclusion of the Shastra? What is the principle behind the Shastras? What we call Siddhantaha. The summum bonum of Shastras. What is the Lakshanam definition? So characterization. And again it is Tridha, threefold. Because it is connected with Om Tat Sat. Different types of interpretation may be there. So Saptadasha, the 17th chapter, Uditam, it has arisen, meaning it has been said, explained. And to go to the commentary, if any point is to be made in this translation and the verse 21, you can also take part. So Atra Bhashyam, 81st paragraph. So Atra, here, Gita Bhashyam by Sri Ramanujacharya, Atra Bhashyam. Bhashyam, Bhasha is language, Bhashyam is commentary. Idanim, now, so we are going to take up the content of the 17th chapter. So Ashastra Vihitasya Asuratvena. The same two-lettered word, ashastram and asuram, has been given as ashastra vihitasya asuratvena. Now one more extra word is given, aphalatvam. So whatever is done according to Shastras will be fruitful. Put it in positive terms. So in negative terms, whenever the Shastra is not followed, then it is fruitless, useless. So idanim now ashastra vihitasya. Now how do we know that it is not mentioned by the Shastras? We have to search for the truths or principles from the translations of the scriptures and also the what we call translated meaning in the Itihasas, especially Ramayana, which is very easy to understand by stories, and Mahabharata, which has got 20,000 verses on the main roles of Pandavas and Lord Krishna, 80,000 verses on the anecdotes, what we call allusions, that is what we call the deviated stories in connection with the main, namely 20,000. In order to guide the Pandavas, Mahabharata of Veda Vyasa has given 80,000 verses. The majority, the lion's share goes to the allusions, whereas only just 20,000 on the heroes, namely Pandavas. Pandavas are the great friends of Lord Krishna. And of course, the same purpose, Paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavati. He is born, he appears, he incarnates. So it is here. So Shastra Vihitasya Gunastraividyam. So the rules explained in the scriptures, if they are followed, they are classified according to the three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. Traividyam is threefold. Guna is the quality. Here it refers to only these three qualities. So Shastra Siddhasya, again the letter Sha should be repeated in again Shastra. Previously it was Shastra Vihitasya, it is Shastra Siddhasya. The same letter must be used here also. If it is Shastra Siddhasya, that will become Astram means missile, Shastram means with the missile. Yeah, that's easy. Okay. So Shastra Siddhasya Lakshanam Uchya Uchyate. So the 3 points are dealt with here in the first sentence, namely Ashastra Vihitasya Asuratvena Aphalatvam, the fruitlessness, the uselessness of the demoniacal quality enjoined, not given in the Shastra, not mentioned in the scripture. That's the number one. So number two, Shastra Vihitasya Gunastraividyam. Those rules which are mentioned in the scriptures are based upon three qualities, sattva, rajas and tamas. And the third point will be the definition of what has been concluded in the scriptures. Shastra Siddhasya Lakshanam. So cha uchyate, it is being now said. Iti thus. Shastram yasya vidhayakatvena nasti tat ashastram iti abhiprayena. So what is ashastram? We must understand what is, I think it's used in the English word nescience. Shastram is science. what negates the science is nescience. Shastram, the scripture, yasya whose vidhayakatvena nasti, when it is not a controller, when it is not a ruler, when it is not a boss, when the scriptures are not our boss, then tat ashastram iti abhiprayena. The opinion is, abhipraya opinion is, it is ashastram. Meaning, if there are no rules, if there are no restrictions, if there are no do's and don'ts, then we don't call them shastra. Because a science, namely scriptures in Sanskrit, should give some rules to be followed, some rules to be avoided. So, ashastra vihitasya, so again we are giving the ashastra, the definition of ashastra here. So shastram is vidayakatvena nasti. When it is not ruling over others, then it will be ashastram. Then ashastra vihitasya iti uktam. Om tat sat iti shastra siddhasya trividham lakshanam uktam. Now Om is the base for all the scriptures. Om contains, as all of you know, that it is again Chitra, Achit and Ishvara. Lord, the goddess Mahalakshmi, Lord Sriman Narayana by A, Mahalakshmi by U, and then Ma is the individual soul. That is Om. And then Tat Sat iti, Tat meaning that Brahman, that Almighty, that Sriman Narayana, Sat, ever exists, ever lives, ever alive, ever what we call existing substance. So Tat is Sat. It's a good substance also. Sat also means good substance. Lord Sriman Narayana with good attribute. Again, to tell you double negative, he is Kheya Guna Rahitaha. He does not consist of, he doesn't possess avoidable bad qualities. So Tat Sat iti Shastra Siddhasya Trividham Lakshanam Uktam. So three types of definitions are given according to the nature of the, what we call the Swarupam of the Lord in A, in Mahalakshmi, and in the individual soul. That will be one type of Lakshana. The other one is Tat, namely only the Swarupam of the Brahman, namely Almighty, and that will be explained how it is Sat. So these three definitions are there in the Shastra Siddha. So what this means is the individual soul has to probe into the scriptures, practice Jnana Yoga by understanding the scriptures word by word, letter by letter, in its own spirit, and then try to fix the mind on understanding deeply these words. Therefore, Trividham Lakshanam. Now when you go into the Bhagavad Gita slokas, we will understand how this is explained. And this is only an overview, a bird's eye view given by Sri Yamunacharya in his Gitartha Sangraha, as we see here. And the Gitartha Sangraha Raksha gives some more explanation in order to clear the path before we tread.
I'm going to look up, I didn't get time, but I was going to look up this, where Om Tat Sat is mentioned in the Gita. But this
tomorrow,
word, yeah, this,
tomorrow the discussion will be on in Srimad Ragasya Sara on the two words, one Om, rather two types of syllables, Om, and within the Om, leaving the letter U. Generally, all castes, all varnas, irrespective of the status, can recite the syllable Om, and the ladies of the society will be reciting and tomorrow there will be a discussion why such a difference is there, and what is the difference between Om and and if they are different, why should we prefer one part of the society, one section of the society to say Om, the another one and then again, if they are equal, why not all say this Om or and what is the power of this and Om? Is supposed to be the Bijaksharam of the 8-syllable mantra, Ashtakshari is called from Atharva Veda. This is a discussion to be followed. We will be understanding what is Om and I can give you some glimpse of Om from the Srimad Ragasya Sara if you need today. Otherwise,
yeah, if you can do that, because you just said that Om represents the Shastras. Om represents the Shastras, right? And this, see, that's my question. My question is, if Om represents the Shastras, and the verse here says that without anything, with Ashastra, that which is not in the Shastras, or that which is not the Shastras, right, doesn't produce any fruit, then how can Am produce any fruit? Because Am is not the Shastras. Om is the Shastras.
Initially, in order to understand the three mantras, an introduction is given. Of course, I gave you on just one idea. There are three secrets, as we have in Vaishnava, Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. These three secrets are the 8-syllable mantra called Tiru mantra or Sri mantra, and then Charama Shlokaha, Sarvadharman Parityajya from the Bhagavad Gita, from the 18th chapter. Dvayam Sriman Narayana Charanam Sharanam Prapadye Srimate Narayanaya Namaha. So these three are called the secrets. And these secrets must be initially understood before we understand the word, the syllable Om, what we call Pranava. So here, the first one, Thirumantaram, meaning the 8-syllable spell, helps us to redeem us from this world and help us to reach the next world. The next world will be Vaikuntha, according to Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, and it is a point of no return. There will be no birth and rebirth and death later. That is what we call Redeemer. The Thirumantra is the Redeemer. The Ashtakshara syllable, the 8-syllable spell is a Redeemer. Then Charama Shloka. Now this is one kind of order. Now I also going to say, according to Vedanta Deshika, another order of these three secrets. So Charama Shloka comes next, initially in one type of order. So Charama Shloka will give us the what you call the nourishment required in order to approach the subject, namely Jnana Yoga, and that Jnana Yoga will lead to moksha, and moksha being the kainkarya to the Lord in order to create preeti. So this is again repetition. Then lastly, Dvayam, so what I said to you as Dvaya mantra, two sentences are there. These two sentences, when understood, will be enjoyable and will give us the right amount of bliss. We will be very happy to experience the bliss, the extreme joy on understanding the God, or the Swarupam, the original nature of the God, and the difference between the Supreme Soul and the individual soul, where we understand also the original nature of the individual soul. So again, so that will become what is enjoyable. So enjoyable will be called bhogyam in Sanskrit. So now these three mantras, secret, correspond to the three words, namely Tarakam, Poshakam, and Bhogyam. Tarakam will be a redeemer, Poshakam will be a nourisher, and then Bhogyam is enjoyable status. Now, again, how to understand these three? Again, this Tirumantram, the Ashtakshara, the 8 syllable spell, will help us to understand. So that will represent Jnana. Charama Shloka will give us the order, meaning Sarvadharman Parityajya is one order, Mamekam Sharanam Braja is second order. Though these two orders are there. So it helps us to understand, realize what we do or what should we do, what we should do. So Anushtanam. So this is the Charama Shloka is the Anushtanam part. The last one, Dvayam, is called the Phalam, the fruit, the resultant good effect of these three secrets. Now, the last secret, namely Dvayam, will give us the benefit of becoming a Nitya Suri in Vaikuntha, enjoying the bliss, possessing the unlimited knowledge like the Lord, and enjoying the bliss along with Him. And we will be near Him, we will be imitating Him, meaning what we call Samipyam. Then we will be imitating Him in Sarupyam, and we will be also looking at the creation as He looks at the creation. Now, again, what does the 8-syllable mantra do? The 8-syllable mantra contains the pranavam, namely Om. So that please remember. So what does it do is, whenever the meaning is understood of this mantra, Ashtakshara mantra, then the disciple gets his darkness of ignorance from the heart removed very easily. And he will have a taste in, he will be indulging in, enjoying only the service-mindedness to the Lord. And therefore it's called Parasheshata Ekarasaha. So he will be only interested in only one action, namely doing service to God. And then the second Charama Shloka will make us understand the purity of the original nature of the Lord. And it will also give us two more points, namely why we are born here, and what are we to do, and what makes our existence fruitful. And that will be what we call Satta Labha in the second part. So here, almost all these three are initiated by the 8-syllabled mantra. Now, when we go through the Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga, and when we are not able to practice all these three, when we resort to Prapatti Yoga, the fourth one, so we are almost at the fag end. So the Charama Shloka, Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Raja Hantva Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishyami Masuchaha, this verse called as the Charama Shloka. Charama meaning Jnanam, wisdom. Charama also means final, ultimate. Here Charama is, so what do? We try to find out the method or strategy to gain the knowledge. Then the method is what we call active participation. That is the strategy that we are supposed to do. Then what will be happening while we understand the second secret, namely the Charama Shloka from the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. That means we will be getting what we call the cause for increasing our knowledge. We'll be understanding the reason for increasing our knowledge, increasing our wisdom. And then we will feel that we need not hear from the preceptors anymore. We are complete in wisdom. So that will be made to feel that by the Charama Shloka. That means when we follow actively the words of Charama Shloka, we will understand and we will feel that nothing more is necessary other than this. Again, we come to that point, service to the Lord. So who is advising whom? We understand Lord Krishna is advising Arjuna. So again, who advises whom? Lord Sriman Narayana in the incarnation of as Lord Krishna advises us, the individual soul. And therefore, the final Dvaya mantra, the third mantra, the third secret will be finishing our what we call completing our knowledge plus finishing the advice. We need no more advice. We may not require advice anymore. And therefore, this is about Charama Shloka leading to the Dvayam. Then this is something interesting or beautiful. How much do we do? How many times do we do Parayanam? That is meditation by repetition of these three mantras. When it is said, it is only once. Sakriti Ucharanam. Only once you say this. Once you say this meaning, by saying once these three mantras, we need not repeat the mantras, but I'm trying to understand the meaning of these mantras by commentaries of preceptors and so on. And we must find out what is the final goal for us. What is Parama Purushartha? Whether these three mantras will help us to realize the meaning of what we call as original nature of the Paramatma. Then when we understand, when we find out that we do not understand fully, in spite of our reading the commentaries, then we have to repeat these three mantras all the time, all the time. And that will make us grateful. We will have a sense of gratitude developed toward the Lord. And the last mantra, the third secret, will become highly enjoyable. Now, while saying this 8-syllable mantra, just like any mantra would always require, first we will say the sages connected with the mantra. Number two, what is the prosody? What is the type of prosody? That meaning the rhyme pattern of the mantra. That is what we call chandas. The third one, who are the gods to be propitiated by that particular mantra? So these three must be initially understood, initially mentioned also. Not only understood, but also we mention. We take up our right palm, touch it on the head for rishis, touch the nose for chandas, and then touch the heart for the devatas, the gods propitiated, gods worship. Then again there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 6 requirements while saying a mantra. Apart from the rishi, chandas, and devata, so when you mention the sages who created the mantra, for example, Vishwamitra is the name of the sage who created Gayatri mantra, who is the producer of Gayatri mantra. And therefore, we have to remember the names of the sages. We have to remember the name of the syllable pattern, or the what we call syllabic instant pattern. Vrittam based on the rhyme, rather meter based on the syllable, number of syllables, and meter based on the matra, the duration of time. And then after this, after understanding who are the gods and goddesses worshipped by this particular mantra, we have to understand what is the bijaksharam. Bijam is the seed. The seed syllable is what we call a secret syllable, of course now mentioned in many books. And those bijaksharam will be understood of the mantra. Now that is what we are now going to discuss tomorrow about. Is the bijam of the Ashtakshara mantra. Then we will also understand the power of mantras, Shakti. So, for example, one example is there. Take Tyagaraja Bhagavata, who was born in Tamil Nadu with the Telugu as his mother tongue, in a Telugu family, and he shed his mortal coil in a place called Panchanada Kshetram, otherwise called Tiruvayaru. It is said that he was able to compose thousands of kirtanams, thousands of songs on Rama and even other deities. Rama in the main category, and now at least 400 to 500 are available to us in Telugu, in Sanskrit, and in Telugu and Sanskrit. So he was able to compose all these kirtanams inspired by 12 crores of Rama Japam. The meditation of the word, by repetition of the word Rama, he could bring out good kirtanas, even now sung, and it will be alive forever. The another example is Natha Muni of Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya repeated Kanninun Siruttambu, the Divya Prabandham of Madhurakavi Alvar, only just 10 verses, 10 pasurams in Tamil, which helped him to realize all the 4,000 Tamil Divya Prabandhas of the 12 Alvar apostles of Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya into re-existence, which were extant and which were lost by a flux of time. So these are two just examples for what is the use of this japa, what is the shakti of the meditation, of this repetition, by repetition of these mantras. And then what are the letters in these mantras? What are the letters? We take each letter from the pranava, Namo Narayanaya. So what is the letter Na denoting? What is the meaning of the Maha? The next letter Maha. Then Na, then Ra, then Ya, and Na, and Ya. Narayanaya. So the 5 letters. Narayanayeti pancha aksharani. The scripture says there are 5 syllables. Narayanaya. Each syllable must be understood. Then we have what we call Varna Viniyoga. Viniyoga is distribution. Distribution of the letters. How are they? Why are they are some two letters are in juxtaposition? Why Ra after Na? Why Ya after Ra? And so on. So now again the Vedanga name Niruktam, the book called Etymology is to be consulted, it to be understood. Now then Sthanam, the place of the mantra. What is the position of the mantra? What is the status of the mantra? What is the importance of the mantra? What is the importance of the mantra in our human life? That is Sthanam, that is place. And finally, Nyasa. Not only it's not final, but there are some more, but the book says only Nyasa. Nyasa is, as you have heard about Nyasa, we use the fingers of the hand to show that these mantras are existent in the very body, the physical frame of the individual soul. And therefore, that is why we touch for sages, the name, when we mention the names of sages, the head, the prosody, when we say name, Anushtup Chandaha, on the nose tip, and then we have the heart to be touched for Devata, the goddesses. Now coming to the greatness of the, now we are going to deal with only today the greatness of the 8-syllable mantra. Now this mantra, 8-syllable mantra, we already said that it is from Atharva Veda, the 4th scripture. Generally, the first 3 scriptures are called Trayi. And even when we say the many words like Amnayaha, Shrutihi, Vedaha, Chandaha, all these denote only the first 3. It's a later addition, they say. But Atharva Veda contains lot of important portions which we require in our human life practically. And therefore, and this Atharva Veda has contained the Ashtakshara mantra plus the Upanishad called Kathopanishad. Kathopanishad has hidden the mantra, Ashtakshara mantra in its body. Then you have Shastra like Manusmriti. So Manusmriti supports the 8-syllable mantra. Then you have a book called Naradiya Kalpam. Naradiya Kalpam, written by, composed by Narada, and also Bodhayana Vritti of Sri Bhashyam. So these are the 2 special books which give us the meaning of the last word in the 8-syllable mantra, namely Narayanaya. So Narayanaya will be understood by the books called Narada Kalpa and Bodhayana. Then you have, of course, many more books. Then with this support, The Ashtakshara mantra became popular, became famous. Then there are so many mantras in scriptures. There are so many spells in scriptures. They are endless in number. In spite of this endlessness in number of the mantras in scripture, this mantra with regard to Sriman Narayana is the very most important. And therefore, it's called Bhagavan Mantra. This eight syllable mantra is called Bhagavan Mantra. And that will be better than any other mantra of the scripture. Then, when the mantra, especially the Ashtakshara mantra, is endless in meaning, Anantaha, Anantaha. And again, connecting this Ashtakshara mantra to the other two secrets, namely Charama Shloka and Dvaya mantra, they are there. All the three are called Vyapakatrayam. Vyapaka mantras or Vyapakatrayam, meaning all pervading spells. Now, we have three more important mantras, but Ashtakshara mantra is the most important. The other three important mantras are Shadaksharam, 6 syllables. Om Sri Vishnave Namaha, very simple. Om Sri Vishnave Namaha is a 6 syllables. Then Ashtaksharam that we are discussing. Then Dvadashaksharam Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This is Dvadashaksharam, 12 syllable mantra. So among these three mantras, namely Shadakshara, 6 syllables, 8 syllables, and 12 syllables. 8 syllables is the most important. Now, it is said negatively that if one does not know what all I said about this mantra, namely, when we do not know the sage connected with the mantra, the prosody, the meter connected with the mantra, the god or goddess to be worshipped in the mantra, the seed, the seed syllable, bijaksharam of the mantra, the power of the mantra, the letters of the mantra, and how they are distributed, and the place of the mantra, the status of the mantra, and how do we use the mantra practically on our body. So that is using touching the limbs. So when it is said negatively here, only when we know all these things, the recitation of these mantras will be fruitful. That's what we say. Now, why these mantras? Why only Ashtakshara mantra? Why not many mantras, or at least the 6 syllable mantra, Om Shri Vishnave Namaha, or Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya? Why not we give importance to these two other mantras? There, it is said, this mantra, 8 syllable mantra, is the quintessence of all the scriptures. Whereas the other mantras are only essence of some scriptures. Number one. Second one, the capacity of the 8 syllable mantra is to turn back or keep us away, keep the individual souls away from all unwanted things. And that is the second speciality. Third speciality is the 8 syllable mantra. When we recite it, we will not only aim at moksha, we will also get the side benefits like extra benefits, fringe benefits like what you call sops, by getting the benefits of dharma, kama, artha, purushartha. these three Purusharthas also. So we will be able to fulfill our desires in this world. We will be earning money in order to fulfill the desires of the world, of this world, and we will also behave righteously to earn the money, and by earning the money we will fulfill our desire of this world. Then of course moksha is assured by the mantra, Ashtakshara mantra. Then this Ashtakshara mantra is in the form of the Lord. Lord is in the form of the Ashtakshara mantra. And therefore, He is the Upaya, He is the means, and Ashtakshara mantra is the means. Because Ashtakshara mantra is equal to Lord Sriman Narayana. Then again, this Ashtakshara mantra is open to all, irrespective of caste, varna, or ashrama, the stage of life. And then it is common to all gods and goddesses, and doesn't need any support from any other mantra. All preceptors of Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya supported equivocally the efficacy of this mantra. And that will be a small introduction to the it's called the Moola mantra, namely the Ashtakshara mantra. We will be giving you more and more information while we deal with the same Om Tat Sat, especially Om in the future session.
Swami, I found the verse in Bhagavad Gita, 17th chapter, which mentions Om Tat Sat. Do you want to see it?
Yes. Yes. That will be relevant. Om Tat Sat iti nirdesho brahmanas trividhas kritaha. Brahmanas trividhas kritaha. Brahmanas tena vedascha. Yajnascha vigitascha. This is about what we call the portions of scriptures are threefold, and again in this portion called the Brahmana, we have yajnas prescribed, sacrifices prescribed. So as I told you just now, Ashtakshara mantra, starting with the word Pranava, Om, will be a complete representative of the Lord. And the word says, this verse says that sacrifices were prescribed in the Brahmanas of the Veda. The Brahmana is the name of the portion. Brahmana doesn't mean Brahmins. We are not talking about the individual soul. It is a portion of the scripture. The first portion is Samhita. The second one is Brahmana. Third one is Aranyakam. Fourth one is Upanishad. So with this, it's only the discussion on Om again is as endless as Brahman, as vast as the this world, Vishwam Vishnu, the pervasiveness of the Lord. And by, of course, it is also said, by reading a book, by studying under a preceptor, again is not enough. many times when we approach a preceptor, many times he advises on this Shastra mantra. At the same time, we are not able to realize the meaning. Or I was telling Dr. Punata Tiharan, we have not translated the meaning into our action in daily life. We have been understanding the translations through some language intelligible to us. But the original spirit of Sanskrit word in the scriptures will be understood in spite of the rather.
So what first thing I wanted to say is that we keep coming back to this question about Omkara, and I want to clearly make everybody understand that there's a difference in doctrine between the Tenacharya Sampradaya and the Deshika Sampradaya on some issues about Omkara. Now the thing is, you were saying that in Rahasya Trayasara, you were saying that Vedanta Deshika says that Am is the, or Ayanashvara is the bija of Astakshara. Is that correct?
Right.
Right. Okay. And then you were also saying that there are 6 things necessary for mantra. So so you mentioned in the mantra nyasa, you have to know the rishi, the chanda, the devata, and then you mentioned some other things. But so that sounds like there are rishi, chanda, devata, and well, Viniyoga usually comes next. But what are the 6? Can you just enumerate?
The last but one was Varna Viniyoga.
Varna Viniyoga was the 5th. But Varna Viniyoga is not the Viniyoga of the mantra. It's the Viniyoga of the Varna, the letter. And then the last one you said was Sthanam.
The 4th one is Bija. The
Bija. Okay. Okay. So we have so Rishi, Chanda, Devata, Bija, Shakti,
Varna,
Shakti.
Viniyoga.
Shakti means what?
That's the power of the mantra.
The power of the mantra. Okay. Sometimes we also have this in Nyasa. We also have Shakti. We have Kilakam.
No, that is not it.
That is not it. Okay. Shakti. So Shakti is number 5.
Yeah.
And then
Varna is number 6.
Varna is number 6. So Varna meaning Varna Viniyoga. Okay.
No, letter,
Varna.
Letter. It's not color. It's not color.
Yeah, no, letter. It means letter, and each letter has a meaning.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you were mentioning the sthanam of the mantra.
Yeah, Viniyoga. The next one is Viniyoga.
So okay, so there's more than 6 here because already we got to 6.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Rishi, Chanda, Devata, 9.
9. It's not the list is not up to 9.
Okay, so Rishi, Chanda, Devata, Bija, Shakti, Varna. That's
Viniyoga.
That's 6.
Viniyoga.
Sthana
and Nyasa.
What is it?
Sthana, the place.
Sthana and Nyasa. Okay, Sthana and Nyasa. Okay.
Totally 9 mentioned here.
But Sthana means, so can you say again what Sthana means and what Nyasa means? Nyasa, all these things, these first 3 things are done with Nyasa. Oh, I see. So
we first do 3 types of Nyasa initially. And then for every syllable we have Nyasa.
For every syllable we have Nyasa. Okay. So the 3 types of Nyasa that come is the mantra Nyasa, the Kara Nyasa, the Anga Nyasa?
A total Nyasa will be about a comprehensive Nyasa is first 3.
Oh, you mean Rishi, Chandas and Devata?
Yeah.
That's what it meant by nyasa.
That gives you an introduction how to go on meditation.
Right. So the anganyasa and the karanyasa are not are part of that or not part of that?
Yeah, Anganyasa and Karanyasa is the last ninth part.
Oh, I see. And things like the vyapakanyasa and all these sort of things. Yeah. Okay. So now you were saying you said a couple of times there that ladies can't chant Omkara according to Deshika Sampradaya, and or they're not qualified to chant Omkara. They're also not qualified to hear Omkara.
No, they can, because the Sri Bhashyam itself is taught to the ladies.
Sri Bhashyam is taught to ladies, and Sri Bhashyam includes Omkara. And so they can hear it, but they cannot chant
definitely, it. Because definitely there are so many quotations from the scriptures in the commentary called Shruta Prakashika of Sri Bhashyam. Therefore, they are bound to hear.
So there is a text called I believe Gautamiya Smriti or Gautama Smriti, which talks about ladies and Sudras not being able to hear and not being able to chant also Shruti mantras. So, but you're saying okay. So it's I want to just understand exactly. Deshika Sampradaya is saying that and this also includes Sudras also, right? Sudras can also hear the Vedas.
It's not specifically mentioned here, but even the 8 syllables can recite, irrespective of varna.
Okay, so you're saying irrespective of varna, as long as they are male.
No. The only one syllable Om will be changed to Am for ladies,
but not for males, for men.
Or not for men.
So Shudra men, Panchama men can chant Omkara.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. And the Shudras can also hear
yeah, I'm going to deal with it tomorrow. But there is one more difference. Instead of Narayanaya, they can say Namo Narayana.
Yeah. This was my understanding, having studied this before for many years. My understanding was that the Shudras should be chanting Namo Narayana without the Aya.
Yeah.
Namo Narayana.
Without the dative case suffix.
Without the dative case suffix. Yeah, exactly. So without any prefix also.
No.
Without Om and without Am also.
That I will confirm tomorrow.
So my question is here. You were saying that the ladies can hear the Vedas, but they cannot chant the Vedas. All right. So, but my question is, the Sudras can also hear the Vedas.
Yeah.
So Shudras, non-Dvijas males can be taught Sri Bhashya.
Can learn Sri Bhashya.
They can learn Sri Bhashya. Okay. So my question is, I quoted this story about Tirumalasai Alvar. I think it was Tirumalasai Alvar. There's one Alvar who was low-born Alvar.
Tirupan Alvar.
There was an Alvar that gave a hint about the Brahmins were chanting the Vedas and they stopped chanting when he was passing.
That is, I think, Tirumalasai Alvar. Yeah.
Tirumalasai Alvar. Yeah. So why did the Brahmins stop chanting when he went past? If Sudras, if low caste people are allowed to hear the Vedas, if ladies are allowed to hear the Vedas, why, when Tirumalasai Alvar is passing the Brahmins, why did they stop chanting the Vedas?
And that we have to understand whether it was before the
My understanding was it's forbidden for them to hear the Vedas, for Shudras to hear the Vedas.
we must try to find out by the history. Was it before the advent of these traditions? Deshika Sampradaya or Tanacharya Sampradaya.
Right. Of course, the Alvars are before Vadagalai and Tengalai split, of course. But I mean, that's obvious, that's historical. But the thing is, the point is, are you saying that a tradition that a tradition occurred at a certain time,
which was earlier to this kind of restriction?
So earlier, at the time of the Alvars, there was a restriction in that people couldn't hear the Vedas. Certain people could not hear the Vedas, right? So the question is then, why, if there is one tradition given in Shastra, how does the tradition then change? How is it different today than it was at the time of the Alvars? Shouldn't it be the same as the way it was when the Alvars were there?
No, it is also possible that some of the traditions became obsolete, and we say we have broken the tradition. As the age advances, as the time advances, there were improvements. We don't say that the first occurrence has been transgressed.
Okay, so my understanding of the Alvars, of the dates of the Alvars, that the Mudal Alvars, Pogai, Pudit, and Pei Alvars appeared before Kali Yuga started.
Yeah.
But Tirumalasai Alvar, there was only a few weeks left in Dwapara Yuga, and then Tirumalasai Alvar apparently is the first Alvar who appeared in Kali Yuga. So if Tirumalasai Alvar is appearing in Kali Yuga, so I'm just trying to understand, the tradition in Kali Yuga is that if you say that it has to do with the time period, there's a difference between the time of Tirumalasai Alvar and today as far as traditions are concerned. Even though it's the same Yuga,
right,
but still there's a difference in the traditions, yes?
The Yuga Dharma is common in certain things. And even by preceptors, now, then why should it be a division between in the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya as one Deshika and Tanacharya?
Right.
So that means Tanacharya Sampradaya has deviated from the main, or Deshika Sampradaya has added and differentiated from Tanacharya Sampradaya.
Yeah, I mean, from each side's point of view, the other side has deviated. I understand that, but also
then there will be that means both of them are misinterpretation.
Both of them are misinterpretations.
Yeah, if you say there should be no change from Ramanujacharya's tradition, you take Ramanujacharya as common to both the Deshika Sampradaya and Tanacharya Sampradaya.
Right.
And if we divide ourselves into two, and you say one thing and I say another thing, that means Ramanujacharya's contentions are wrong.
I would prefer to say that perhaps there are some details which were not clearly enunciated in detail by Ramanuja, and the details have been differently interpreted by the different members of the Tenacharya Sampradaya and the.
But again, how can there be difference of opinion? Now, even the scriptures lend themselves to different interpretation.
Right.
Even the scriptures have got Advaitic angle, Vishishta-Advaitic interpretation, and Dvaitic interpretation.
Normally, that's explained. That difference is explained by people who say that there are Dvaita Shrutis, there are Advaita Shrutis, and there are Ghatika Shrutis.
That is where Ramanuja combines the Abheda Shruti, Veda Shruti and Ghataka Shruti to explain these concepts. And therefore, when there are different interpretations of a single sentence in scripture, this is on the what you call the working of the mind of the individual acharya. So naturally, each has a different opinion.
Okay, so
And then a group is formed.
sure, I understand. Right. So some acharya has a different opinion, and his followers or his mutt, they follow his opinion, and therefore it becomes a tradition.
And if Ramanuja were alive, will he accept Deshika Sampradaya or Tinacharya Sampradaya?
Yeah, we don't know.
Or a combination of both?
Yeah, we can't say. We can't say. The Christians also ask this question. They ask, "What would Jesus do, or what would Jesus say?" You know, we don't know what Ramanuja would say about the interpretations of the Deshika Sampradaya or the Tenacharya Sampradaya. We don't know, so we can't say that. Okay, so maybe we can move on.
In the same way, you can explain the incident of Tirumizhi crossing the place and Brahmin stopping the Veda recitation. They know not what they do. The Bible sentence.
So what you're saying is that the Brahmins shouldn't have stopped. They shouldn't have stopped recitation.
No, that is what we say. It was done by them in those times, according to the customs of those times. The customs have changed. The habits have changed.
Yeah, but the custom. Isn't the custom based on Shastra? The whole verse that we're talking about today and yesterday is that things are in the Shastra are good and things that are not in the Shastra are bad.
Right, but there are some general rules accepted by all parties.
Where are the rules from? The rules are from Shastra.
Yeah, scripture. And the scriptures give room for different interpretations.
Okay. So okay. Good. All right.
Therefore there's a difference of opinion.
Okay. So
now why the scriptures give room for different interpretations? That is again the will of the Lord.
Okay. I mean, here in this particular verse, it says that the varieties in the scripture are according to the different gunas.
Yeah, that is why when one becomes a sattvic, this interpretation of this shastra is different. The rules of shastras are different for each guna.
So then I can understand if somebody is classified as a Shudra, he's considered to be more of Tamagun.
Tamagun.
So therefore there might be different rules for him.
Yeah. Manusmriti says.
But then Gita says in chapter 9:32, Striyo Vaishyas tata Sudras te piyanti param gatim.
Yeah, again.
Striyo Vaishyas tata Shudras te piyanti param gatim.
Te piyanti param gatim.
Te piyanti param gatim. That even the ladies or even the Shudras, they can attain the supreme. Yeah. But they attain in a different way. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So can I move on because I have some more points here? The Astakshara you said is in Atharva Veda. What you mean the Astakshara is in the Narayana Upanishad, which is considered to be part of the Atharva Veda.
Right.
The Astakshara is not in any Samhita. It's only in the Upanishad, the Narayana Upanishad. Then you said it's also in Katha Upanishad?
It is also available indirectly in Kathopanishad.
So when you say it's indirectly in Kathopanishad, it means that the varnas, the letters of the Astakshara, are hidden in the Kathopanishad and they can be combined. Sometimes
Right.
we see that the mantra is hidden in a verse. So do we know the place in Kathopanishad?
I'll find out and tell you.
Okay, thank
Because
you.
it's very small.
Right. And then you said that Manu supports Astakshara. Manu.
No, Narada Kalpa and Bodhayana.
Yeah. Before that, you said that Manusmriti also supports Astakshara.
Yeah.
So if you can find out the reference in Manusmriti for Astakshara, that would be very interesting to me. And then you also mentioned Narada Kalpa and Bodhayana Vritti, and I don't think the Bodhayana Vritti is not available, right?
Right.
Because at the time of Ramanujacharya, Ramanuja and Kuradalwan, they had to go to Kashmir to see the Bodhayana Vritti in manuscript form at the Shardapitam in Kashmir.
Kashmir.
And so we don't know. It's not available anymore, right? It's
Right.
lost. So what about this Narada Kalpa? Is this a shastra which is available? Not available now. Okay. Okay, so just moving on a little bit.
Manvadi Sarva Shastra. Manvadi Sarva Shastra. Manvadi meaning Manu Shastra. Manu Shastra is Manu.
Yeah, there are 18
representations of.
Okay, but there are 18 Shmitis. There are 18 major Shmitis.
28.
28. Excuse me, 28. So if there's 28, so Manvadi can mean Manu, etc.
Manu, Yajnavalkya.
Right. Yeah, there are Parasara Shmiti. I know there's so many. Okay, so do we know exactly where the Astakshara is mentioned? Is it mentioned only in Manu, or is it mentioned in one of these other Shmitis?
It says Manvadi, Manu, etc.
So that means we have to look in all of them. Okay, all right, that's fine. So now you mentioned the different Vyapaka mantras, the Sadakshara and the Dwadasakshara.
Right.
So Dwadasakshara, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, very familiar with that. You said that the Sadakshara is Om Shri Vishnave Namaha, but that is 7 aksharas. My understanding of Sadakshara is Om Namo Vishnave, which is 6 aksharas.
All right. I said Om Namo Vishnave.
Is it correct? Is it Om Namo Vishnave, or is
Om
it
Namo Vishnave?
or Om Vishnave Namaha?
Because of habit, I added C.
So you just made it a little bit more Sri Vaishnavic by adding the Sri. Because you always like to add Sri. That's nice. Very nice. But actually the 6 syllables are Om Namo Vishnave. And it's not Om Vishnave Namaha.
Right.
Because Om Vishnave Namaha is also 6 syllables.
Yeah.
Right, because I had this discussion with Raman Bhatta, whether it is Om Namo Vishnave or Om Vishnave Namaha. And he said it's like Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Vishnave. Okay. So, again, the question came up in this, that here it says that you were saying that Om represents the Shastra, and Om is in the Shastra. And so how can there be any fruit from the mantra without Om?
Where is the mantra without Om?
Om Namo Narayanaya is without Om.
That will be explained tomorrow.
Okay, I'm waiting for that. Okay, so then you were saying this whole verse and everything was about what is ashastriya, has no fruit, gives no fruit. And you shouldn't do things which are ashastriya, against the Shastra, right?
Yeah.
Ashastriya vihita, and the word vihita means what? Wrong? Fixed. So not fixed in the Shastra. So we see that today, for instance, like people use foreign vegetables. They use cauliflowers and they use Even chili is a foreign vegetable to India, by the way. Okay, so are these Ashastriya?
Yeah, we don't use them in the Shraddha ceremony.
You don't use them in the Shraddha ceremony. So okay, you don't give them to the Pitris, but what about for giving them to Sriman Narayana?
That's why whatever we eat, we must offer to God and eat.
Right, but we don't offer non-vegetarian things. So why don't we not offer? We should not offer Ashastriya things also, right?
No, Shastriya, this comes to Ahara Nema of Vedanta Jyotika is limited in nature. In his time, what were the vegetables? So he was talking about those vegetables. And we say today, had he been alive today, he would have accepted more vegetables. Even the onion and the garlic.
Okay, that's a big claim there. That's a big claim. Okay. Anyway, I didn't really want to get into vegetable discussion, but my main I was trying to understand if something is not in the scriptures. Some people say if it is not mentioned in the scriptures, then perhaps it can be taken. And or perhaps it can be done. And other people say if it is not mentioned in the scriptures, it cannot be done or cannot be taken. So there are two slightly different ways of looking at this.
No, my now because you have said all this ideas, I would say that the Shastras themselves prohibit certain actions, and they become Ashastra Vidhi.
So prohibit certain general things.
Yeah. They give you a list of do's and don'ts. The
Right.
don'ts will be Ashastra Vidhi.
Okay. All right. So I had one other question. I began to understand that in the Ahobalamat Anikam that we understood that Prapanas should not use in the Sankalpa Om Tat Sat. They should only use Om Tat. They should not use the word Sat. So here specifically we had the mention of Om Tat Sat in Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
So why, if it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Om Tat Sat, why Prapanas cannot use Om Tat Sat in the Sankalpa? Why they have to? And I think the Ahobalamat Jir was saying that has something to do with the Charma Sloka, that Sat should not be used by Prapanas. But do you know the reason why it is Hari Om Tat only? It's only Om Tat in the Sankalpa, not Om Tat Sat.
The usage of Tat will have to be should have a right place in the sentence. The Sat will be rather redundant place. When I say Tat, that is enough.
That's enough. But I think specifically they're saying that yeah.
We already say Govinda 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 Asya Sri Bhagavataha.
Yeah, but this comes before that, before Sri Govinda Govinda Govinda. Hari Om Tat Sada or Hari Om Tat. Why Prapanas specifically should not use the word Sat?
It's not a question of Prapannas. We are not differentiating from ordinary people from Prapannas. All should say Om Tat.
Everybody should just say Om Tat, and nobody should say Om Tat Sat.
Yeah.
Again, the question is right there in Bhagavad Gita, right there in the Gita verse 17:23. It says Om Tat Sat.
No, the Bhagavad Gita explains these three terms.
Okay.
In the Sankalpa, we say three, only these two.
But this is it's a Veda Vakya, isn't it? It's a statement in the Veda, Om Tat Sat.
No, it's an ending part of the scripture.
Okay, so if it's the ending part, it's inside, it's part of it.
Yeah.
Or is it separate from it?
The separate one.
Okay, so it's not part of the Veda.
No, it is part of the Veda, the ending part of the Veda.
Yeah, okay. All right. So the ending part of a dog is its tail. It's part of the dog, correct?
Part of the?
I'm just trying to understand. If the Veda, the ending part of the Veda is still a part of the Veda.
Yeah.
Okay, so then it's part of the Veda. Om Tat Sat is part of the
Right.
Veda. So
Yeah.
it's a scriptural sentence.
Yeah.
So if it's a scriptural sentence, why shouldn't it be chanted?
No, the practice is different. We don't use all the sentences from the scriptures for Sankalpa.
I see. Okay. So specifically for Sankalpa, it should only be Om Tat. It should only be Om Tat. Okay. All right. I'm sorry to get so technical and everything, and maybe it's very boring for other people.
Perhaps I think the Advaitins use Sat also. Sat also.
Everybody uses everybody uses Om Tat Sat.
Oh.
I mean, I'm seeing. I think even in the most of the books, most of the texts I see printed by Sri Vaishnavas, it also says Hari Om Tat Sat.
They include the Sat. Do they include the Sat?
I'm just looking. I'm just looking in a book here. I'm pretty sure they do. Sorry. Perhaps looking at this Sri Vaishnava
another idea that comes to my mind is when we say Hari Om Tat, Om refers to the Lord, again indicated by Tat. Then we don't disbelieve its existence, permanent existence, and therefore we don't say Sat.
Sat means perfect, permanent existence.
Yeah. We have no doubt about it.
Okay, well, the particular book I'm looking at doesn't have, they just start Sri Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Narayana Prityatam. They don't start with Hari Om Tat Sat. So maybe I can look in. Anyway, let me do some research on this point, and but seems like we got because of the mention of Om Tat Sat and because of the mention of what is in Shastra and what is not in Shastra, we got into some detailed discussion. So I think I need to do a little bit more research so that I can ask better questions about this topic. And I know that there is some slight differences in interpretation. Just like you said, there's big differences between Advaitis and Dvaitis and Vishishtadvaitis, but between Tenacharya Sampradaya and Deshika Sampradaya, there's some very small differences. I'm not too worried about it personally myself, but I do want to understand understand what is being said by each acharya, by Vedanta Deshika and by Vilelokacharya.
Another idea about using, the way in which we use differently, it is because of the family tradition. It is because of the Acharya's advice. And that is the proof for many people.
Right, it's just acharya, but the family guru will have some advice, but his advice will also be based on some interpretation of shastra.
And why of this will be can be understood only from those acharyas.
The problem is that some acharyas will start a tradition, and their followers will follow that tradition, but the followers have to preserve the reason why the acharyas gave that interpretation. And sometimes in families we don't know why our ancestors did something, right? That's a problem. That becomes a problem if we don't know why.
Earlier Sri Bhashyam was not taught to women.
Not taught to women, yes.
Yeah, earlier.
And probably and I think probably not taught to Shudras also.
Definitely not.
Definitely not taught to Shudras.
Yeah. Even now.
Even now, some people are not. I think.
I think 45th Villivalam Ayeshingar started off by teaching women when the men were not interested.
So maybe when the Shudras are interested and nobody else is interested, maybe the Shudras will also be taught.
Will be involved.
Kali Yuga. Okay, so I'll.
One more example. Today there is one Bombay Radha, my name. She settled in Chennai today, and she is supporting Deshika Sampradaya tooth and nail, and she despises all other sampradayas, all other traditions, and she gets into controversy also. There are hundreds of people attending her discourses on Srimad Ragasetra Esara, all of Vedanta Deshika, Paramata Bhanga, because there are some controversial books here, and Sri Bhashya also because she said she learned from the Arigesingers, and also one of the great scholars like Purushi Krishnamacharya Swami from Chennai. She is very confident in interpreting as Deshika did it. She is creating what we call a stir in Chennai.
Good.
So that means a lady also can teach Sri Bhashya. Not only hear Sri Bhashya, but also teach her.
And what is the opinion of Vedanta Deshika about that?
The trend has changed.
कवितार्किकसिंहाय कल्याणगुणशालिने श्रीमते वेङ्कटेशाय वेदान्तगुरवे नमः.